All right, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Kristen. I will be your host and moderator today for our webinar, Why You Should Sketch, Modify, and Markup Images to Enhance Contracts with Steve Stencil. We are really excited to have you all here today, and we're really excited to have Steve hosting this for us. So to get things started, I'm going to launch a poll here shortly, and I want you guys to answer and give us an idea of some items that you guys are currently using for your visual elements. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that there. Looks like lots of people are using photos currently. Wow. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. So that gives us a good idea. A lot of you guys are saying you're using photos, some sketching here and there. So we'll definitely learn more about that from Steve today. We're really excited to have you guys here, and I'm really excited to introduce our speaker, Steve Stencil, who is the creator of Leap and the Leap product family, and has been actively developing this app for over 10 years. He has a background rich in both sales and software development and ensures that the product solves relevant and familiar problems in the marketplace. He spent over 7 years selling in the home, and he provides a unique perspective into the functional needs of an app that improves sales efficiencies, streamlines the internal operations of a business, and maximizes your customer's experience. I am thrilled to have you here. Steve, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Kristen. So I'm going to jump in here and
I'll let you take it away.
Yeah. All right. End that poll, and then I'm going to share my screen. Close these. So what I want to do in this thing is I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to go over a couple slides and just talk about my experience as a sales rep. So I, like Kristen, elaborate a little bit what she said. I did in-home sales for a little over 7 years for an exterior remodeler in the Baltimore, Maryland area. And I'm just going to go over a couple key points that I used to use when I did in-home sales. So the topic of this webinar is just, using visual elements. It's a big thing in purchasing anything. So when homeowners start the process of purchasing a home improvement project, it's oftentimes the first time that they are doing so. Not every day does somebody wake up and say, hey, I'm going to buy a roof or a bathroom or whatever. So the process to them is foreign. Most times, or most things we purchase, we can feel and touch. Like we go to the store, we can turn the TV on, turn it off. We can see the picture on it. We can interact with the product. We can try it out, or try it on. We can take it for a test drive, if you're buying a car or something like that. Most of the time, we can take it home that day or have it delivered the next day. When purchasing a home improvement project, we don't have that luxury. We have to be able to visualize the final product in our heads. As home improvement contractors, we provide combinations of product samples, brochures, before and after pictures to help assist the homeowners in this visualization process. In this webinar, I want to talk about 4 ways that you can really just separate yourself from your competition in providing these visual elements to homeowners. So back when I was doing in-home sales, my entire presentation was all about building value in what I was selling. So I would take in sales kits, all that stuff, and the whole presentation was just about building value. My presentation consisted of showing various product samples, countless brochures, and pitch books that explained why I was the best, why I was the best salesperson, I was representing the best company, I had the best prices, I had the best products. I called this process price conditioning. I wanted to price conditioning my homeowners to, in their mind, most of the time homeowners don't even have an idea of how much something is going to cost. I sold a ton of roofing. I would go out there, and if I asked the homeowner how much they expected the roof to cost before they started the entire process, you will get numbers all over the place. Some people are just way out of the ballpark high, some are way out of the ballpark low. Every so often you would get one that would hit it, where it actually was going to be. So we've all been price conditioned before. Think about a time when you saw something that you wanted. You said to yourself, that's going to cost a fortune. I actually just purchased a house recently, and there's various products that we're doing or projects that we're doing in the house. And, there's some time I am the customer. Like, we're getting an outdoor kitchen. I'm like, I have no idea what it's going to cost. I throw a dart and I was completely off. So when you go out and you do your presentation, you want to price condition the customer. So by the time you get to the end and you actually give them your price, they're not sticker shocked. So the idea here is to make sure that I convince the homeowner that I was the best of the best, and therefore my price should reflect that I was the best of the best. So I want my homeowner to say, yes, I like that, but I probably can't afford that, is kind of the concept that I wanted to do. Then when I would actually give them my price, I will be in line or even a little over what my competition came in at. And because I built so much value, or so much more value than everyone else, the homeowner would hopefully go with me because I price conditioned them that my products were just so much more valuable than what my competition was. And that's where all these visual elements that I'm about to show you kind of come into play. So most of the materials needed to do this can be housed digitally in tools like Leap. So obviously I'm biased to Leap, but we have ways that you can house all of this materials in there. All of my manufacturer's brochures were organized in easy to navigate folders. All of my pitch books were converted to PowerPoints and right next to all of my brochures. I took before and after photos that were normally in like a photo album on my phone, and I made them into PDFs that I could easily navigate through with the customer. Customer testimonial videos was like fishing with dynamite. When I needed just a little extra just to get the customer to say yes. There was a little contest that we ran with the sales reps where the company offered $50 for any video customer testimonial that they could get. So we will go out, we will sell the deals. Job will get installed. Sales rep will go back out to the homeowner's house, get a customer testimonial video. The company would use it to post on Facebook and all that stuff, generate more leads. But we would also use them in our pitch materials of actual videos of the customer saying how much they liked the project and how great the process was when it installed, etc. And the company only paid $50. Sales rep was super happy about it. And then you could probably even hold contests with your sales reps to whoever gets the most, etc. And again, it's like fishing with dynamite. I also had links to various websites that I found to be useful in certain situations. There were, for instance, one pops to the top of my mind is there's a cost of value website to show like how much a project typically costs and how much value it would add to your home. I used to use that all the time, and it was updated every single year. And I would use that if I was selling a roof or I was selling windows. And a lot of times the cost on those projects were always higher than what the actual cost was, or at least the cost of this homeowner's project. So it was another way to price condition the homeowner. So when they were looking at these numbers and they seen $20,000, $30,000 in this cost of value report, when I laid off a price of $20,000 to $30,000, hopefully they weren't sticker shocked if I did my job right. You can also have links to different manufacturers' websites, warranty information, etc. These are all just nice little icons that you can have at your sales rep's fingertips, and it's just additional tools that they will have to help close more deals, build more value, etc. So let's go here, next slide. So that was the first one, which in a nutshell was just having all of your pitch materials digitally in an easy to use, easy to navigate system like Leap. So when measuring a roofing job, I'm going to talk to you about satellite measurements. This pertains mostly to roofing, as where it's used widely, and then we do have some companies that are using it for any other exterior stuff like gutters and siding and anything that's really exterior. So a lot of our customers do exterior remodeling, and I'm just going to put a big emphasis on this because the value that it brings if you do exterior is enormous. So measuring a roofing job, there's an opportunity to create more value to your homeowner based on how you actually measure the job. Using tools like Eagle View and Hover as part of your sales process, not just production, but your sales process, can be used to give your customer peace of mind. This is a more professional way of calculating your price and lends more credibility to how you came up with your price. This is a twofold value add because not only will it help you close more deals, but you still use the measurement reports in production when it comes time to ordering the job, not to mention the time and errors that will save due to the human error. And what I mean by this is when there are companies that are really maximizing the value out of these reports, where most of the time, like Eagle View is the big one out there right now, Hover is too, but Eagle View is like kind of like dominated the roofing industry. And most of the time the contractors sell the job, they win the bid, and then they order the report, whether an Eagle View, Hover, or whatever format you want to use or company you want to use, and then they order that and then use it for production. But there's so much value lost with it. The report's going to cost you, I don't say $50, $50, $60, $30, who knows what they cost. But you're going to pay that in production. But if you were to do it up front during the sale, now let's just imagine you're going to sell 1 out of 3 deals. So it's going to cost, you're paying 3 times the amount for reports on sales So instead of paying $50, let's just say you pay $150 per sale. However, if you only generated one additional sale per year, it'll probably pay for all of the reports that you ordered. And the idea behind this is you download an EagleView or a Hover, and you use it when you're pitching the lead. And in the demo at the end of these slides, I'm going to show you how this would work. But the report comes in, all the measurements can auto-populate, and then you use the photos and the little model, the wireframe of the house, to explain to the homeowner how you came up with the price that you're about to present to them. And I used to use this to my advantage all the time, especially when I was bidding up against other contractors, because I would ask the homeowner, well, how did they measure the roof? And I would say, whether they walked it off with a measured wheel or measured tape, or they got on top of the roof. And I would just explain about, the human error. And I would plan, hey, well, what happens if, they mismeasured by 100 square feet, and then, they already have all the shingles ripped off, and now they want to charge you for that 100 square feet. Like, how will that work? Just having the measurements and price auto-populated by a third party, it adds just a little bit more credibility to how I came up with my number, and gives the customer a little bit more peace of mind. And if it helps me, again, close one extra deal a year, then that's one extra deal that I wouldn't have got otherwise. So presenting your proposal, the way you present your price to your homeowner, there's so many ways that you can present your price to the homeowner. Over the years, I received quotes. I've gotten quotes verbally. I've gotten quotes written on a business card, written on just a plain piece of paper. I've gotten quotes via text message. Of course, I've gotten quotes via email. How you present your price to the homeowner is very, very important to building your value. Again, I go back, we just bought a house. I was getting prices on various different projects, and the people who'd like write it on a business card, or, I couldn't get a price that day, and they were sending it to me in, by dropping a thing off and handwritten in my mailbox. Like, it works, but it's so much more professional when there's other formats out there. So your proposal should contain photos and sketches of exactly what's going to be installed. And I'm going to show you an example of a beautiful proposal that can be generated in Leap in seconds. And I'm going to show you how that proposal can then turn into a contract, and how all of the information from a EagleView or a Hover or a roof scope, is the three that we integrate with, can auto-populate all this information. So you're not going to add any extra time to what you're doing. So, your proposal should be on your letterhead with your company logo and all of your company information, and they should be typed out, not handwritten, and presented in person or via a professional email template. So, and I used to do both. So I had my iPad, and I would generate a very nice, beautiful proposal. We used to call it a price conditioning sheet. And going back to my price conditioning, when I would show them the price, I had all the options, my good, better, best options listed on there. It was very professional looking. I had different ways that I could edit, to add or remove different discounts or different finance options and plans. So I was tailoring the proposal to what was discussed with that homeowner. And then hopefully I sold it that day. I always went for the one call close, but in the event that I didn't sell it, I had the option just to go ahead and send that proposal to the homeowner. They would get a very professional email template that was also branded, that had my company logo, all of my company information, links to all the different products that we had discussed, and any other like warranties or manufacturer's specifications were in that email body. And then of course had the attachment to the proposal. So just a much more professional way, adds a little bit more value. And again, imagine everything else is equal, but I presented my price, in this digital format that was very nice and clean on a letterhead. And then the guy came in and he did it some other way, handwritten it, did it verbally, or just think of however you're doing it now, and everything else is equal. The homeowner it might be a little bit extra. They feel just a little bit more comfortable going with the guy that just looks a little more buttoned up, and I win the job. I'm going to my next slide, and we're just going to talk about, how you actually capture, your contracts, and how you capture all the information on your contracts. So when the customer ultimately decides to go with you, building value really shouldn't stop there. Your contract should look just as good, if not better, than your proposals. You're going to obviously want to make sure that what you discuss makes its way to the contract. Using Leap, you can take all of that to the next level, because you can put kind of guardrails in place in Leap, and have the rep have all the information populated from an EagleView Worst case scenario, he could type it in manually, and then only the information that was listed on the estimate, which in turn increases or decreases the price, is what makes it to your contract, no more and no less. So if you're doing handwritten contracts or even like typed out contracts, it's like on a Microsoft Word template, your reps are free form to type or write whatever they want into them, and you have no way to tie it back to what was initially quoted, well, then you're asking for errors and omissions on contracts when it comes time to production or installation. So the other thing is adding thumbnails of actual products that are being installed. So we have a lot of bath companies, for an example, and the actual faucet, a picture of the faucet can make its way to the contract when you're using tools like Leap. Unless your sales rep is a great artist, he really has no way to do that, to attach the actual faucet in full color to the contract. So or how about the actual color swatch, whatever color they picked. There's so many times where, like I'll give you a perfect example. I would go sell a door, and the door would have a slate stone gray was the color that the customer picked. And I had the color swatch, and the customer would pick slate stone gray, and I'd write it on the contract, slate stone gray. Of course, this was before Leap. With the carbon copy, I'd give them the carbon copy. It would take couple weeks to order the door would get installed, and the homeowner's like not happy with the door because they said that's not the color they ordered. And I would point to the contract and say, it says slate stone gray, and this is slate stone gray. And the customer's like, I had no idea what slate stone gray is. That's just kind of like a branded name that some manufacturer came up with. What is slate stone gray? So with tools like Leap, you can actually have the color swatch printed on the contract in full color. So when the customer's like, hey, that's not the window I ordered, not the faucet or the finish or whatever it is, you could point to the actual contract, hold it up next to the door and say, this is exactly the color that you ordered, and kind of, alleviate those types of concerns. I was talking to a guy who just came on with Leap the other day, and he said he recently, it was like I told him that story about the door, and it hit home with him because he said just recently it happened to him, and the cost for that door, because he went ahead and did the customer a solid and replaced the door for the customer, and he said that alone would have paid for Leap for the entire year, not counting all the other additional value that Leap adds. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing this, and I'm going to try and switch to my iPad. So hopefully this all goes smooth. So bear with me 1 sec. Display. Kristen, I'm going to need you to just tell me if this thing's sharing right or not. Should be popping up any second.
Looks good, sir.
Perfect. Okay, so this is my actual iPad is sitting here right? So just sharing the same screen. And what I'm going to do first is, before I came in here, I was just like downloading some stuff, make sure I was all prepped for this webinar. What I'm going to do is going to clear out my roofing stuff. Wait, done. And I'm going to come back here. So what I've done, I have a customer loaded in the bottom left corner, Alan Gilbertson, some fake customer, at least I think he's fake. And at the top, you see all my different categories. So I got like roofing. And actually, let me go in here and turn on some of my finger touches so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so now you see this little green dot. You can see where I'm tapping. So in the top, I have a roofing section, windows, siding. You would customize Leap to be whatever categories of widgets that you sell. But what I want to do is just show you to kind of bring all 4 of those things, those visual elements kind of home. I'm going to go ahead and do roofing. That way I can bring in an eagle view or a hover and just show you start to finish. So the first thing that I talked about was doing like your brochures, some PowerPoint presentations, your pitch books, etc. So I'm going to come here to the resources section. And what you see here is kind of these are like little folders or categories that I had set up. You would set yours up with whatever products that you want. And I can click into these, like here's roofing, and here's all of my roofing brochures. So I'm going to click on the GAF Timberline, and you see it brings up the PDF. You can put any manufacturer's products in here. I can zoom in on this, and I have everything I need, at my fingertips. I can scroll through this. It's always updated. If I have 1 sales rep or I have 100 sales reps across multiple states, you can have Leap house all of that information. And you can also get even way more advanced with it, where you can have the brochures and stuff change based on which market the sales rep is in. So there are times, like I worked in Maryland, and we have covered all the way up to New Jersey, as far south as Virginia, and the products change because the distribution centers didn't carry certain products. So we set up Leap to where, depending on which market the sales rep was in, it only showed the products that they were allowed to sell. So You can also, like, remember I said the links to different websites. We put a link in here. This is just a demo account, but this is a link to our YouTube channel. So if, you know, I was a sales rep in the house, I could go through and navigate through all the different YouTube videos. You know, if you want to, we have integrations with Engage, where if you use them for your presentations, you can house all, this is a brand new thing that we just launched, but you can have all of your presentations here to where when you click on them, it just opens it up straight into Engage. And I think, videos, you can have actual videos that appear here. I'll let this one go. But anyway, before and after pictures is another one. Right, so you house all of your pitch materials here, and they're in one location. So as you bring sales reps on, you can, you know, just give them a username and password, and they have everything they need to pitch the job. You'd have your insurance certificates, your Better Business Bureau certificates, letters of recommendation, manufacturer's brochures. I mean, any piece of material that you can think of, you just upload it once, and then everybody has access to all of that information. So that's the first one. And then of course you would show this all to the homeowner while you're sitting at the kitchen table. So now let's go in and price up a roof. And I'm going to click into my roofing category. And you see at the top, I have my 3 different measure tools that we integrate with. I'm going to click on Hover because they have a pretty cool 3D model that I'm going to show you how it works too. Hopefully all this works on a live webinar. I'm going to click into one, and there you go. See all my quantities just populated 26 square roofing, underlayment, starter strip. Maybe I want to go in and I need to turn on a permit, and the customer needs to replace 2 skylights. So I'm going to add those manually because they don't come in with the report. So then I'm going to click done. And this is kind of modeled after the way I did in-home sales. So what you're seeing here is I have 3 packages set up. So we used to offer a good, better, best system. In this case, it's Owens Corning. So here's my good, and you see my price here in the top left is $19,000. If I just swipe my finger across the screen, it will switch all the products over to the better. And if I swipe again, it will switch them all over to the best. Now, remember one of the slides in that slide deck that we just went over, I talked about using the report as part of the sales process. Well, it's not just about working up a price, because, you know, that will eliminate a bunch of like mismeasurement errors where sales rep, you know, misprices a job both too high and too low. So you miss some of them because he measured 4 or 5 square too much, and he was too high because of it. So he lost the job, or you priced the job too low and maybe you won it, but then you lost money on the deal because he priced it too low. So one of the ways that you're going to get a lot of value out of using those reports, Eagle View, Hover, Roof Scope up front during the sales process, is by eliminating the errors. But if I come back to my resources section, Leap recognized that we linked the Hover. So it went ahead and downloaded the entire Hover report. So if I click on that Hover report, if I'm sitting down with Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I'm going to pull up the Hover report with their house, you know, shown, and say, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, this is how we came up with the price. You know, we have a third party that takes all the pictures and they measure it, you know, digitally. They can get down to an inch, you know, fractions of an inch probably. And, you know, this is basically how your roof is going to break out. And if I'm selling siding, you know, you can just swipe through this thing and you can show them, hey, look, this is how we priced up your siding. This is how we priced up your gutters. This is how we priced up your trim. And this was just something that I used to sit with the homeowner, and they loved it because it was actually their house, and you had everything, you know, kind of like itemized out. And I used to blame the sticker shock, if there was one, on my device. You know, I say, well, Mr. Jones, you know, we just upload your pictures, it comes out, it does the math for me, and it spits out a number. And I didn't have to kind of like own that price. I was able to blame, I would blame it on my actual computer. The other thing that we do with Hover is they do a really cool 3D model. This might ask me to log in here. Yeah, just give me 1 sec. Hopefully my password's saved because I sure as heck don't remember it. Let me try. We'll do this one. Okay, so this will be from Hover, the actual 3D model of the customer's house. So again, I'm sitting here, I just pulled in that Hover. I don't have to, you know, find it or scroll through their app or whatever. Leap is just going to pull that up, put it in the resources center, and I can go through with the homeowner and change all the different siding and roofing colors. If you're not familiar with Hover, This webinar isn't, really the pitch then, but this is just showing you like visual elements that I can show the homeowner, and what's a better visual element than a 3D model that can swap all the products out, on it. And again, this is just something that, very few contractors out there are doing this, and the cost to do this is pennies compared to the value that it's going to bring you both on the sales side and the production side. All right, let's turn all this into a proposal. One of the other slides that we talked about was generating a proposal and a very professional proposal at that. So I'm going to come here, and I have various different templates. So you might have one type of proposal for roofing, a different one for windows, different one for bath. At Leap, we can help you customize all these, and we have templates for all of it. So just for time's sake, I'm going to show you one that I believe this is roofing. So I'm going to click on my roofing proposal, and I'm going to hit next. And then it provides me a sales rep of a screen that I can go in and I can add a photo to this for right now. And again, for time's sake, I'm going to leave this little placeholder photo. But if I wanted to, I could take the photo of the customer's house and just have that have the actual customer's home photo. But this one looks pretty enough. Let's just pretend that this was the house that I'm working on. And then I come through here and I have the good, better, best pricing that we talked about earlier, already auto-populated for me. Maybe I want to give the customer a little discount on each. So I say, hey, if you buy this one, we're going to give a $2,000 discount. And if you buy this one, we're going to give you a $1,500 discount. And if you buy this one, we're going to give you a $1,000 discount. And then I'm going to hit next. And then Leap is going to generate a very professional document. Now we have this one branded to Leap, but you would do it with your colors and your logos. And you see the picture here of the customer's home, all of the information populated with their name and address down in the bottom right corner, all of the company information. You can even have it as the sales rep's email address and name and phone number if you wanted to. In this example, we have it as just like a generic email. And then I swipe through, so imagine I'm sitting at the table with the homeowner. I'm like, okay, here's your quote that we prepared. Here's a little introduction, and you go over, like all the stuff that you're going to include, or, a little bit about your company. This is just like a little kind of cover sheet that explains, everything that I'm about to tell you, and, why it's good and why I'm the best, et cetera. Some customer testimonials, you could go through. Everybody's process of presenting price is different. And if you don't have one of these types of processes, we can show you kind of like industry best practices and what other people do. And then we get into the kind of the meat and potatoes of it. So this is kind of like my best option is like Mr. and Mrs. Jones. This is our best shingle that we talked about. Here's the total. Here's the discount. Remember, I typed in 2,000. Here's the total, and your 24-month interest-free financing brings that to $1,056 a month. And then I have all the color samples here. Remember how I talked about like putting the actual color swatch on the document. So you say, hey, here's all the colors that you have to pick if you go with the best option. If you go with our middle of the road option, which we consider the better option, here's how that all breaks down. And you can see the colors, they're changed. And then here's my Supreme. This is like my good system. And discount. Then you can have like a warranty statement or something like that that goes there at the end. Now, if I'm with the homeowner, I'm sitting at the kitchen table, that would work. But if I wanted to send this to the homeowner, I can just hit send, and it will ask me just to select all the different brochures and warranty information that I want to include along with this document in the email that goes to the homeowner. So the homeowner will get a very professional email template that is also branded to your company, and then they will have attached to it any brochures that you want to include with it, along with this attachment that we just generated that's tailored to what I had selected in the estimate. If I went back to the estimate and changed things in the estimate, then I can regenerate that document to reflect all of those changes. So the final thing that we talked about on there is your contracts, and how do we, also, show a very professional document. So there's time, most of the time, contractors out there, and they're writing on a carbon copy contract. That's like probably, I would say, the most common across the industry. There are a lot more contractors who are doing digital versions using tools like Docusign or Adobe Sign. HelloSign is another one, where you basically just upload a PDF template, which is just a digital version of the carbon copy, and then the software will fill it in for you. Which is better than doing the carbon copy one. One of the downsides to that one is if you wanted to put a big page or paragraph full of text in one of those type of documents, most of the time there's no room to put a big page. It's going to run off of the document. Or putting the little color swatches or photos into those documents, you usually can't, because it's like a static template that you draw on top of. So I'm going to show you how all of this will work with Leap. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to select roofing. I'm going to select, let's do Payment. We'll do these payment details. We'll do some terms and conditions. So I'm going to hit next. And then it provides the sales rep. Oops, hold on, I'm getting a call. Let me mute that. So it provides the sales rep with a form to fill out. And what's cool about this is you're going to eliminate errors and omissions on your documents because your rep can't get to the next screen until they fill everything out in its entirety. So although it's bringing everything over from the estimate, there are some things that are only relevant when you sell the deal, such as what exact color did the customer pick? That might not change the estimate price, but I need to know what the color is when we fill out the contract, or maybe the existing shingle type. So we want the sales rep to fill that out. And I'm going to go here and choose the style. What's also really cool about Leap is you can make the color options change based on what style they picked. So like if I do this 3 tab, you see my colors. I don't know, there's like 7 or 8 of them there. If I change it to like a Timberline HD, then we have about a dozen colors. So, and again, I'm showing you with roofing, but you can adapt this to any product, and we can put any manufacturer and customize these with any fields that you want. Part of the beauty of going with Leap is you go through an onboarding process where we kind of just walk you through your entire sales process, start to finish, and then ask you questions to get to this outcome. So when you come out the end of our onboarding process, you should have all this stuff tailored to the way that you do business. If you remember, we linked that Hover. Well, Leap recognized that and pulled all of the photos out of Hover that were used to generate the Hover report. And we had talked about where you can go and like add comments to it. So you can say, replace all siding and trim on front of house. I'm gonna hit done on that one. A sketch, we had talked about, like marking up photos. So if I come in here, I can, let's bring in a photo. We're just gonna do a picture. I'm just gonna do it on my iPad right here. Use photo. And then obviously imagine if this was a house, but I wanna go in and let's change my color to red. And we're gonna go, like this. And I would say, okay, this is replace. Oops. Oops, not the photo, we want the text. And then let's do a green one. No, with that text red. And I want my lines to be green. And then I'm going to say this one, don't replace. So you see how just marking these up can make it like, give me that thing. Come on now, there you go. So you can circle things, highlight things, draw on it. You can put a little grid in the background. So I can go like this, put a little grid. You can draw like some straight lines. So actually here, let's move these out of the way. Oops, let's undo that. And here, and draw some straight lines. You get the point. So like mark this up, maybe do a little floor plan. You can draw straight lines and put labels all over the place. So I know this doesn't make sense looking at it like that, but you get the gist of it. So I do that. I'm going to go to my payments page. And again, payments page, I have mine set up as a separate page. So like you have your product pages, roofing, windows, bathroom, whatever you sell. And then I have my payment page as kind of like tying it all together. So if I go here and say the customer is going to pay $15,000 cash and finance the rest with a deposit today of $5,000, you'll see that Leap did all the math. So it carried the total over from the estimate. And then I said 15,000 are paying cash, 5,000 due to or paid today. So I'm going to say due upon completion is 10,000. And I'm going to say that they're going to pay with we'll just do cash for now. And you can see it did the math on how much they're financing, which is 31,915 minus the 15K they're paying in cash. And then it even did an estimated monthly payment based on which finance option was selected. So I'm going to hit next. And this generates a new document, branded, but this one is my contract, not my proposal. And you see it has all the product and job specifications on there. It has a little thumbnails, like this is my skylight. Remember I added the skylight at the end, it was a quantity of 2, and it has the actual style and warranty and everything on it. So it just auto-populated from the estimate side. And I just want to show you an example really quick. So if I close this and I come back, let's see, and I turn that skylight off. So we come in here and say, hey, the customer, skylight's too expensive. They want to do everything else but the skylight. We're going to say without, we're going to name this one. I know I spelled it wrong, but sorry. So now we're going to come to the contract and we're going to reconfigure this page with the new estimate. So then we'll do this, repick the color, bear with me. I think that's it. Next. Oops. And then you see the skylight's completely gone now. The little thumbnail and everything's completely gone because I turned it off. And now my contract will reflect exactly what I quoted on the estimate. So as I scroll through this, I have all of my details, and here's my terms and conditions. And notice what I have at the end is all of the photos in full color that I can use. You can have the actual, sketches and the color tiles and everything on your documents. So when comes time to order the job, everybody's on the same page on what needs to be ordered and what color needs to be ordered. When it comes time to install the job, everybody's on the same page because all the information is there and complete. And then when the job is done and it comes time to pick up the completion check, if there's any discrepancies, you can point to the contract and say, hey, everything that is on the contract is exactly what we installed. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, or the iPad screen. I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint. So let me pull that up. And Kristen, if you're going to be in here in case we have any Q&A, it's going to take me a second to get this thing set back up.
No problem. Thank you so much for putting that all together for us, Steve. That was awesome. While you guys are here, we would love to jump into some Q&A. So if you guys have any questions, please go ahead and put that in the Q&A box now, and we'll get to all of your questions. We also want to let you know we are offering a special promotion today for those of you that joined us live. If you guys have a conversation with us about LEAP, you get lunch on LEAP. And if we decide that you guys are a good fit, you'll also get up to $500 off to use towards your LEAP subscription. So I'm going to go ahead and launch a poll now to do so. Bear with me one second. All right. All right, so that poll is live if you guys want to go ahead and put your answers in there. And we've got a couple of questions here. Can LEAP be used for kitchen or bath remodel?
Yes, bath is one of our most popular products that are in it. And a lot of times with bath comes kitchen. So you can put all that. What's really cool too is a lot of times bath and kitchens are like SKU based, meaning, you just pick a la carte kind of the ones that you want, where like roofing and windows are not really, there's not a SKU, like you have to custom order the system. So when you're doing kitchens and baths, you can put all of the line items in there. The rep can pick them. You can have all the little thumbnails of each item in LEAP, and then as you select them, all that stuff just comes over to your documents, whether it's a proposal or a contract. So you can have all the little thumbnails that the rep selected on the estimate side, just auto-populate to your proposals. And if you do a demo, just ask the rep that is doing the demo with you to show you like how it can be used for kitchens and baths. And we have little demo accounts that we have set up to show you how it can work.
Excellent. A couple other questions here. Can I edit a scope of work at the kitchen table? I think we mean at the kitchen table with the client.
Yes. So when I filled out the contract and you hit next and it generates that PDF, then if you wanted to go back, you would just close that PDF, go back, edit whatever you need to edit, hit next, and it'll regenerate the PDF with the new information in it. I hope that answers the question.
I've got a question here that says, how about an addition? I think what he means is an addition to a house. Well, how do we do that?
Yeah, so it's hard to explain on here. You can do it because the hard thing is how you currently price it up. So if you have like a price book and you can go in and you measure per square foot, linear foot. I used to sell sunrooms with it. So when we measured sunrooms, it was like the framing was measured, I believe, per square foot, and you would have how many linear feet on beam and posts. And then you would have, the walls are so much per linear foot, then the roof is so much per square foot. So if you price it up like that, absolutely. If you don't have a price book and you send it off to like a third party and they like give you a quote and you put your markup on it, you can do it that way too. It's just not as robust when you do it that way. So again, I would just encourage to do a quick demo with one of our reps and then tell them, like, just give him, he'll ask you some questions and you can kind of elaborate on the way that you do it now. And then hopefully we'll be able to show you how you can adapt that into our platform.
Sure. After the job is started, is there communication with the client?
Not through Leap. That's usually done in a CRM. In customer relation management tools, what that stands for. So if you don't have one, we integrate with several of them. So communication with the customer both before the appointment and then after the sale, or even after the appointment, it's usually all done in a CRM. And we can we integrate with, I think, 6 or 7 of them, where the CRM hands us off the information so that the sales rep can do the appointment. And then when the appointment is done, we hand all the information that was generated in Leap back off into the CRM. So then you can do all your follow-up and everything through that. But we are not a CRM, but we play very nicely with them.
Speaking of playing very nicely, what are some of the finance companies that we partner with?
Oh, as you're quizzing me. Okay, so
yeah, this isn't just Q&A, it's trivia now.
Yeah. Okay, so we have Green Sky, Service Finance, Foundation, Fortiva, Interbank, PowerPay, AmeriFirst, which I don't know if they're still doing lending or not. And then we have a new one coming. It's on the 1 yard line, I would say, Sunlight Financial. And then we have another one that is coming in the near future, which is Mosaic. And I think that's all of them. If you have one that we don't have, let us know and we'll try and get it.
Excellent. I think we have one more question. If all the estimating our pricing would need to be input into Leap, correct? Is that correct?
Yes, with an asterisk. So one thing I always talk about, like when I'm talking to contractors, like my buddy has like a fence and deck company, and I talked to him. I was like, look, man, the biggest thing is you can get so much value out of just like the presentation to the homeowner. And the presentation consists of like the brochures and the pitch books and like the customer testimonial videos. Like that is very easy to get in there. Most of it we have all the customer or the manufacturer's brochures, and most of the stuff you have, if you have a pitch book, you probably have it as a PDF of some sort or even a PowerPoint. We can put that in there. Links to different websites are easy. We can load that very quickly, and you get kind of a time to value. You can start using that day one. The other thing is like generating your documents, your contracts, and your proposals. You're doing something now, like you're handwriting contracts, or you're doing something in Microsoft Word or whatever it is. So show us what you're doing, and if you don't have the time to do it, we have a professional services team that can do it for you, and we can digitize your contracts. And then the time to value on that is very short as well, where you can be out in the field using it to do all your presentations and writing up all of your proposals and your contracts. And that covers 80 to 90% of what we just discussed on this webinar, and your time to value is almost immediate. The importing all your prices and stuff, yes, it is a pain point because you have to get all of that data into the system, but you don't have to do it all at once. What we recommend is kind of the 80-20 rule. Get 80% or 80% of what you sell usually comes from like 20% of the SKUs that you actually sell. So if we get 20% of the SKUs into the system of what you sell the most of, you usually can do that fairly quickly. Then you have like a miscellaneous line item in the system where your rep could still price it up the old-fashioned way and just type the number in that miscellaneous line item. So you can do like a crawl, walk, run is basically what I'm getting at with Leap. You don't necessarily have to get it all into the system at once. You could get your time to value almost immediate with the brochures and your documents, and then work on your pricing as time goes.
Okay, we've got a few more questions here. Sort of a two-part question with financing. What is the lowest credit score required for homeowners, and is proof of income accepted greater than the homeowner's FICA?
Beyond the scope of this, I don't even know the answer to that. All the lenders are different. We literally just hand off the credit apps to them. We integrate with them. So if you want to go more in depth with that conversation, we can make introductions to all the lenders that we have, and they'll probably be able to answer that.
Sure. Last question here. Do you have any product information for BCI acrylic?
Yes, we have all of BCI acrylics data already in the system. So if you are a Leap user or you sign up to be a Leap user, you can just download the entire BCI acrylic system. They already have it with all the thumbnails and all the SKUs. And we even have BCI price presentation templates, so the proposal templates, as well as contract documents that you can download and change the headers and stuff with your logos and your branding, where all the thumbnails and everything come over. So your time to value will be next to zero because we already have all your pricing in there if you sell BCI.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Anything else you want to add, Steve?
No, but just I always say at the end of these things, man, just do yourself a service, get a quick demo. Worst case scenario, you just say, no, it's not for me. But there's so many, times, like you look on our website, we have customer testimonials where this thing has really impacted businesses. And actually, that brings me to my last slide that I'll put on here, which is all of our contact information. So if you, give us a call, email, you can put a little message in our chat bot on our website, leap2digital.com. Sit on there for 15, 20 minutes, might even be next thing you know, you'll be on there for an hour because you just have so many questions and it goes so in depth. But just check it out. Worst case scenario, you say no, but I have a feeling you're really going to like what we have to offer.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Steve. We really appreciate it.
Yep.
We will be emailing out today's webinar recording to you all, and please feel free to share with any of your colleagues. You can also check out more on our resources tab on our website, which has things like previous webinars, ebooks, blogs, and more. And if you said you wanted to learn more about LEAP, we will be reaching out to you soon. Otherwise, everyone have a great afternoon and a happy and safe and healthy Thanksgiving, and we will see you next time.